and welcome to another edition of SolarPV TV News Weekly, powered by PV Magazine. Coming up in this week's edition, as our top story, India has unveiled a draft program to build 20 gigawatts of solar parks and mega projects by 2020. In market and policy updates, Miguel Arias-Cañete of Spain's Popular Party has been appointed to oversee climate action and energy at the EU Commission. Brazil is aiming for 3.5 gigawatts of solar PV by 2023. IHS says Central America will install 1.5 gigawatts of solar PV over the next 5 years. China is pushing developers to begin work on DG solar projects, and Italy's net metering policy has been expanded to projects up to 500 kilowatts in capacity. Business headlines: Telangana has issued an RFS for 500 megawatts of solar PV. First Solar has completed a PV plant in Texas, which will sell electricity on the spot market. Aleo Solar has restarted PV module production in Germany. Canadian Solar has partnered on an $800 million fund to finance PV projects in China. Goldman Sachs has begun arranging bonds for Japanese PV projects. Wagner Solar has been acquired by Sandring. Xcel has opened a solicitation for 200 megawatts of PV projects in Texas. Israel has launched a solicitation for a 50 megawatt PV project. Sharp is looking to sell recurrent energy. Google has invested $145 million in equity in a SunEdison PV project. And First Solar has broken ground on a 250 megawatt AC PV project in Nevada. Technology news: Hitachi Chemical has begun sales of wavelength conversion particles for backsheets. Oxford PV will commercialize its perovskite tandem thin film technology, and solar and battery market growth is unlikely to lead to shortages of rare metals. Starting with top story. India has unveiled a 6-page draft of a new policy to work with state governments to initiate solar parks and mega projects with an ultimate capacity of 20 gigawatts by the year 2020. The document emphasizes the government's Solar Energy Corporation of India and states as developers and private developers would be limited to a minority share in any project's build. Mercom Capital CEO Raj Prabhu shared his thoughts on the draft policy with SolarPV TV.
This is very new and unexpected, and a very positive development. Basically, what the draft policy says is that the Indian government is planning about 20 gigawatts of solar parks that will come up in the next 5 years. So they're going to work with the state governments who will provide land and infrastructure, and work with these states to implement these solar parks, and after which they will start, opening the market up for private and public players who want to come in and install projects. So to opening up a new avenue of 20 more gigawatts of solar installation in India is very positive, and it expands the market, which is sorely needed.
In market and policy updates, European Commission President-elect Jean-Claude Juncker has revealed his ministerial appointments, which includes merging the energy and environment portfolios. Miguel Arias-Cañete of Spain's Popular Party, which has enacted extreme retroactive policy changes to Spain's feed-in tariff, has been appointed Commissioner for Climate Action and Energy. The European Parliament must still approve all appointees, and MEPs have demanded Cañete sell his shares in 2 oil companies previously valued at over 300,000 euros. An agency of the Brazilian Ministry of Mines and Energy has published a plan for the nation's energy supply for the next 10 years, which targets 3.5 gigawatts of solar PV. This includes an increase of 500 megawatts annually from 2017. The deadline for the first projects under the solar-only portion of this year's reserve auction must be built. Market analysts at IHS are predicting that Central America will install 1.5 gigawatts of solar PV over the next 5 years, including 243 megawatts in 2015 alone. The region currently has a 1.3 gigawatt pipeline of utility-scale PV projects. China's National Energy Administration has set a deadline for developers to begin work on pilot areas for small-scale distributed generation by the end of September in order to receive subsidies. Developers have been told to start construction first and to apply for quotas later, which may be a response to a lack of interest to date in the program. Italy has raised the upper limit for solar PV projects to qualify for its net metering program from 200 to 500 kilowatts, which is expected to boost the nation's commercial rooftop PV sector. The move comes as the European Photovoltaic Industry Association warns that the retroactive changes to the Italian feed-in tariff will not only damage the nation's PV industry, but will send a bad signal to the entire Italian economy. Business headlines. The new Indian state of Telangana has issued a request for solicitation for 500 megawatts of new solar PV projects. Telangana was formerly part of the state of Andhra Pradesh, and the move comes less than 2 weeks after Andhra Pradesh opened a solicitation for 500 megawatts of PV. First Solar has completed the initial 18-megawatt AC phase of a solar PV project, which holds no contract to sell electricity and will sell the electricity it generates on the spot market. While the company is open to contracts with off-takers, once operational, the Barilla Solar project may be the first functionally merchant solar plant outside of Chile as a new business model for the solar industry. Aleo Solar has restarted PV module production at its facility in Prenzlau, Germany, following its acquisition by Taiwan's Sunrise Global Energy. The factory is producing 300-watt high-efficiency PV modules and holds an annual output of 120 megawatts. Canadian Solar has partnered with an investment fund in Sichuan, China, to establish a fund to finance the development, construction, and ownership of solar PV plants in the province. The fund plans to raise $800 million, including outside investments. Goldman Sachs has begun offering bonds to an affiliate and renewable energy companies to finance solar projects in Japan at rates below those of bank loans, according to Bloomberg. The company reports that these bonds offer yields around 1%. Sandering has acquired insolvent solar company Wagner & Company. The Dutch group has taken over the photovoltaic, thermal, and assembly divisions and plans to retain 80 employees while continuing operations under the Wagner brand at 2 sites in Germany. U.S. utility Duke Energy has announced that it will acquire 3 PV projects in the U.S. state of North Carolina, totaling 121 megawatts, as well as signing power purchase agreements with another 5 projects totaling 150 megawatts. In the U.S. state of Texas, Xcel has opened a solicitation for 200 megawatts of solar PV projects, with winning bidders receiving contracts with subsidiary SPS. This follows an increase in solar goals for the municipal utility in the capital city of Austin less than 2 weeks prior. Israel has launched a solicitation for a 50-megawatt PV project on a former mine as a part of a 170-megawatt solar park. The second and third solicitations of 50 and 70 megawatts will be launched in coming years under the ALOT Renewable Energy Initiative. Sharp has retained the Bank of Nova Scotia to help find a buyer for Recurrent Energy, according to Bloomberg. This follows a 97% fall in profit in Sharp's solar energy business in the most recent financial quarter due to slow residential sales in Japan. Google has agreed to invest $145 million in equity in a SunEdison solar project under construction on an abandoned oil field in Southern California. This is the 17th renewable energy project that Google has invested in. First Solar has begun construction of the 250-megawatt AC Silver State South solar project in the U.S. state of Nevada. This is the 5th project that First Solar is building in Nevada for a total of 750 megawatts. Technology news. Hitachi Chemical has announced that it will begin sales of wavelength conversion particles for solar encapsulant sheets that it says can increase the conversion efficiency of PV cells by up to 2.2% over conventional products. UK thin film startup Oxford PV has announced plans to commercialize perovskite-based dual-junction thin film product for conventional crystalline silicon PV cells in advance of its plans to roll out a building-integrated photovoltaic product in 2017. The company says that prototypes of the perovskite product will be available in 2015. A new report by the UK Energy Research Centre finds that the growth of technologies, including thin-film solar PV and batteries, are unlikely to lead to shortages of rare metals such as tellurium, indium, and lithium. The report says that supply challenges have largely been overcome, and in most cases, production will be able to meet demand in the short to medium term. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to meeting you next week.